want to start?
You want me to start? You want me to intro? You intro.
Wait, me?
We watched the Munsters so you don't have to.
Is that the name of the title? Is that what we're titling this?
It just came to me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a movie review. It's kind of fitting, it being October and all that.
I know, I'm pretty creeped out myself.
Yeah, creeped out is a good way to put this Munsters movie that we watched.
First and foremost, I do want to say that I actually went into this genuinely hoping to like it. Because I saw the trailer, it was bad. I saw people's reactions to the movie, and they all thought it sucked. I didn't want to be predictable. 10 minutes into the movie, I'm like, you know what? This isn't that bad. What is everybody's problem? And then something happened.
What happened?
I continued to watch the movie.
I'm surprised you even watched it, because I know how big a Munsters fan that you are. Robert, you got anything to say before we really jump in?
I don't get it.
That's it, just the face?
He watched it because I told him to, by the way. He wasn't going to.
I'm not the biggest fan of that style of TV.
Well, let's go with the good parts. Okay, so I thought visually it was good. I do like that sort of hyper stylized sort of look, and it came from the lighting, the set design, in a lot of places the dungeon. I thought it looked pretty good. Like when they were walking through the city, I thought that looked really good. All the different neon lights and stuff. It looked creepy. It was cool. All the little stylized like backgrounds. That was kind of, I think Rob Zombie was inspired by maybe like Creepshow or something.
I like when the
those.
lights. Like, I think one scene, Herman meets Lily for the first time, and he immediately falls in love with her, and they got the heart lights rotating around. I
thought that was good. I like that kind of stuff when it's appropriate and stuff like this. Another good thing, Grandpa. I thought Grandpa was pretty good.
Grandpa's pretty good.
The bar and this is set in a very low spot.
I'm with you. Visuals, like you said, the set design. I thought the set design pretty fantastic, personally.
Costume design.
Costume, and that's what I was gonna say. The costume designs were pretty good too. Grandpa, yeah, he was probably one of the best parts of, acting-wise at least, one of the best parts of the movie. For me, that's where it ends with like good.
Yeah.
I was always going to watch it. I wasn't like, hey, look, we're talking about a sitcom. We're talking about a sitcom.
Don't you hate it when you're watching the Munsters?
And it's made a cum. I hate that. It's a sitcom about a bunch of monsters hanging out in the 60s suburban neighborhood, all right? And they go about their daily lives, all right? You can't really take too much serious of an attitude towards like continuity and canon and all this other stuff. So no, it wasn't going to ruin my effing childhood. It's not going to make it's not going to make the Munsters that I watch any less funny when I watch them because this movie exists.
Latest trilogy ruined Star Wars.
Well, I mean that's different.
No, it just ruined that part of Star Wars. It didn't ruin all of Star Wars. It don't make the original trilogy. That's badass.
It did for me because now I know. It's like, oh well, none of that meant. Now when Luke
diaper baby.
No, it's bullshit because in episode 6. In episode 6, Luke and Vader, the sacrifices that they went to, especially Vader, throwing the Emperor, it's all for naught because he comes back. That's applicable. Ruining the child, that's applicable. In that situation. I'm not
going to argue with you. I'm just going to say it's not. But,
100% is.
I will say one more good thing. Talking about set design, I liked when they relocate and they're in this like Pleasantville type, you know what I mean? It's real bright, extreme contrast from what they came from and the clothing they're wearing and all that kind of stuff.
I felt like the whole movie was just kind of thrown together at some point.
I guess we're getting into the bad now, right?
Once you take all the good stuff about the set design and stuff, some of the way it was shot was just so lazy. It was so lazy. And look, knowing what it's like to make a movie now, even on like a low budget scale, I can't sit there and crap all over like low budget, independent people just trying to make a movie. Like, but come on, this is Rob Zombie, and this is a big, semi-big IP, not really big IP, but it's a well-known IP that I'm sure cost a lot of money to do anything with. So it's like, why not give it your best effort? But there were definitely times where things just seemed like it was so absolutely just lazy.
Yeah, to me, I think the way that everything looked, like I agree with you about the sets and the costumes and things like that, but everything looked so flat. Everything looked like it was shot like from way back with just one lens. And then it just, as you're looking at it, it all fades in together, and it makes it look very boring.
I don't get it.
I guess it was when Herman and Lily just got married, and so they're in that horse and carriage, and it's just broad daylight. And it's like, I'm watching this Munsters movie. This is like a universal throwback. It's like, make it rainy and grimy and like some nice atmosphere, some dead trees or something like that. But no, this is where I come in to say where it looks like it was just lazy, because it's like, rain, shine, we're gonna just shoot whenever. And then that's the stuff that we have to do on a low budget. Like when you're Rob Zombie, you should have the access to the funds to be able to like we can shoot on a particular day, or make it at least look like a particular day.
I mean, you could do that in post, right?
If that's what he was going for, that's a different story. It felt like they were just like, well, this is how we're gonna shoot it, just because we just gotta get through it, and that's it. Not really caring. There were scenes like that. It was just like, you get to, I don't know if it, like, maybe that was one of the last scenes that they shot and they just were out of money, and they were just like, yeah, we're just whatever.
I don't get it.
Or, let's set every one of our cameras at a 30-degree angle. Why?
Dude, the Dutch angle stuff got.
But it was like extreme. It wasn't.
No,
like,
there was this one shot of Grandpa walking into the room, and it was like at a 90-degree angle, and it went. You remember that?
Yeah.
You know,
this weird twisty thing, and
it's like. Some doing that sparingly is fine, but man, it's just so much. Just like you couldn't have in some shots they went in digitally. There were several times that I could distinctly, I knew that's a cheap in-edit digital zoom in. I know because I do them. Because there were times when we legitimately didn't have the budget to have like the equipment on set to be able to do that. So I know what it's like. But again, it runs into the issue of like, why should they have that problem? Like, this is.
I almost feel like it's an artificial, like it was an artificial. Let's do this really, really low budget. Like there's what, 4 or 5 actors that play multiple parts in the movie. Like Sherry Moon Zombie plays the reporter or whatever at the beginning. That's her.
I thought that was stupid too. Those reporters. Why were they so over the top?
Why did anything happen in this movie?
To stay like in the bad category before we start expanding out and getting to like the ugly part of this movie, I just want to throw this out there. What's going to be in the bad is going to be the acting. Outside of Grandpa, the acting.
I thought that was going to be ugly.
Well, hang on, I'm not done. Outside of Grandpa, the acting was bad. Now, there's 2 actors in particular, 2 roles in particular that are going to go into the ugly part, and I'll expand on that in a minute when we get there. So whenever y'all are done, we can get into the ugly. Or we might just transition into there.
That's going to be most of the video.
I think we're already there.
Yeah, that's going to be most of the video.
Lily and Herman.
Oh, wait, the most important ones?
The most important ones I thought were the worst ones. I want to say this. Sherry Moon Zombie, I think, is a fantastic psychopathic killer. She plays that role great, okay? She's not Lily. Well, first I thought her voice was too high. At times her voice was shaky, and at times even like vibrato, like you know what I mean, like intentionally.
The whole movie.
I think she was not the right person to cast for this role. I know that's Rob Zombie's wife,
and really, it makes me really, really despise what they did. Because if Rob Zombie respected the material enough, he would have casted the right people in the roles and not just been like, oh, here, my wife's a paycheck. And also Herman, dude, it was all that was Rob Zombie is like, I've worked with this guy, he's tall.
Yeah, with Herman, and
I can use him.
He's the other one. The mannerisms weren't there. The voice wasn't there. The laugh, to me, 2 different types of laughs, and they were a joke, and not in a good way. It shit wasn't funny. This is a comedy, right? It wasn't funny.
I don't get it.
I definitely think the dude missed the mark on that one. Adam Sandler does this all the time, right? He puts his friends in his movies. Nothing wrong with that. But cast appropriately.
Now, there were a few things that he was trying to do. I could tell, like Herman's little eyes, his little eye roll thing that he kind of, this weird little thing he does with his eyes. He was trying to do that, but it really struck me as like it was more of like just a dumbass Herman, but not a lumbering goof Herman. Not enough lumbering goof.
I don't get it.
And how are you gonna have it in the story where he's like made and then just like a week later or whatever gets married? The dude is like hundreds of years old in the show.
First, without giving away too much plot points, because there really wasn't much of a plot. He's birthed. He gets super fucking famous, and then he gets married. All this within the span of maybe like 30 days or so, or maybe it is a week. Who knows, right?
Jeez.
And I even had to ask you, because again, I know you're a big fan of the show, and yeah, I watched it growing up, but I wasn't obsessive over it. Like, you still to this day, like that, you watch that. And I asked you earlier, I was like, he wasn't famous in the show, was he? And he was not. He worked, he had that ordinary, just a regular guy.
That's what makes it so funny, is the fact that, like, if Herman in the show was like this famous star or whatever, as a monster, like he's being exploited as like a big, circus attraction. No, he's just a regular dude like you and me. Just goes to work.
He just happens to be Frankenstein.
He just happens to be a Frankenstein. And that's the appeal of the show. Like, and God, why? And what's with the ending? Like, they're not rich, so why did they get all that money at the end? And why did
Spoiler alert.
And why did the movie just stop?
The movie just ended.
Well, you guys keep talking about like the acting and this. The thing is listed as a comedy.
It wasn't funny.
I didn't laugh the whole time.
Yeah.
The one time I did kind of get like a little smile was whenever it was near the end.
Oh, darn.
I laughed. I chuckled a little bit on that, but that was about it.
I fell asleep like 3 times in the movie, and it wasn't nighttime.
What did you miss?
Did
you miss important plot points?
No, there's no plot. But I actually went back to watch it, and I'm like.
So if you weren't at home watching this, if you're at the theater, would you have left?
The theater? That's the whole thing, right? I've walked out of 2 movies in my life.
What were they?
Oh, The Lady Killers with Tom Hanks. I know
that movie's great.
I know you like that movie.
But that could be an example of like a not great movie, but Tom Hanks was badass in it though.
Well, yeah.
and the cast was good. And anyways, go on.
So
I like the movie.
And then the other one was Maverick, with not Top Gun Maverick. Maverick with Mel Gibson? Yeah, we just weren't in the mood for it.
Okay.
We just weren't in the mood for it.
You just weren't having it that day.
Yeah, but we used to, like, me and my crew, we used to go to the movies all the time.
Sure.
For free.
Sure.
Like,
okay.
We just get in and we can just watch whatever we wanted.
Sure.
So we were just like, we're not in the mood for this. We went somewhere else. I would have walked out of this, but I was at home. So
you just walked out of your house?
I felt like doing that.
Sat in your driveway?
I made multiple notes.
Sit in the driveway.
I made multiple notes going, it's 23 minutes in, it's 31 minutes in, it's 44 minutes in, and then, oh God, there's still an hour to go.
Your notes are this sucks.
I just
capital this.
And this
capital
is, I wasn't a Munsters fan going in at all. I didn't even watch the trailer because I heard it was bad. And I'm like, well, I'm not a big fan of the Munsters anyway. It's not made for me. I'm not a big fan of Rob Zombie like you are.
Okay.
I just don't. I don't like his style.
His
style is very budget minded and almost music video minded. And that's why I don't like a lot of his movies.
You mentioned that earlier, that this movie felt like a long Rob Zombie movie without a Rob Zombie song, I guess, right?
Right.
And I don't think you're necessarily wrong about that. Just the style in which he chose to film, and different angles, that 30-degree angle, and you're right, it did. It kind of felt like a Rob Zombie.
It's almost
music
like he was
video.
he was compensating for not having good blocking. There are scenes where there's all this interesting stuff in the background, and the subject is right in the front. And it's like so boring. It's such a boring shot. And I'm sitting there going, how many movies has this guy made?
We don't have to keep talking about the movie. Please stop.
Well, okay, so give your final thoughts and maybe a few things you would have done different. You can't just say I wouldn't have made the movie. Did I miss a joke?
No, the movie's just making my brain hurt.
The movie's bad, but look, we got to give it a score. We got to give final thoughts on it. Like, what would you I'm not saying that we're sitting here just going, it sucks, but like, if it sucks, why does it suck? What would you do different to change it? So I do want to start by saying I'm a big fan of Rob Zombie, not just his music, but his movies that he's done. I think Rob Zombie put himself in a no-win situation. I think I did a really good job ignoring him just then.
Something came up on him.
I think Rob Zombie put himself in a no-win situation. I want to put this out there. I read something recently that Rob Zombie was not allowed to make it black and white. Apparently he wanted to make it black and white. Studio said, no, you can't do that. He wanted to do this movie. He wrote the script for this movie. I think he should have taken it and made it a little bit more serious, a little bit darker, kind of like they did Addams Family in the 90s. But here's the thing. Had he gone that direction, people would have been, Munsters wasn't that serious. But since he didn't, now you got people like me going, it should have been more serious. And that's why I say I think he put himself in a position where no matter what he did, no matter how he chose to make this movie and what direction he chose to take this movie, that can be said about anything, and I understand that. But also, who is this movie made for?
I don't get it.
Was it made for like us who grew up watching? Because, you know, or our parents? Who was it made for? Is he trying to tap into a new... I just don't understand the project personally.
I don't get it.
So I'm gonna give this movie out of 10. It gets like a 3.5, 4. I'm being generous at 4.
I don't get it.
There were really parts of this movie that seemed like it was a student film.
I don't get it.
And you know, if we were talking about a low budget, guys only had like a few $100,000, it's hard. Like, and so it's really, I don't like crapping over that kind of a thing. But again, as I said before, this is Rob Zombie.
He had big budget.
He had enough of a budget to not throw down something like that.
I don't get it.
Sometimes it felt like I was watching something that was like 30 frames per second, like video or something. No, I know it was shot. It was obviously shot on video. They didn't shoot this damn thing on film, but it just had that like video camcorder look sometimes, where it just had this cheapness, and that's not something you should get. I mean, just make it look like a nice, well lit, well made film. Oh God, there's so much more.
I don't get it.
Just never ends.
Keep talking.
It's like a Vietnam flashback at this point. Like it just, like I understand that actors don't want. You know what I heard about? Like I heard that like, oh yeah, Moon Lady, she was putting her own spin on the character, and I was like, stop trying to put your own spins on the characters. We don't need you to do that,
yeah,
actors.
I agree.
Like if you're playing a character that's maybe been established over like played by different actors, like James Bond. Okay, maybe put your little twist on it as an actor, as a creator, okay, or Joker or something like that. This is Herman Munster. Just do a damn Herman Munster impression and stop trying to be artsy with it. That's all we wanted. We wanted a lumbering goof with a deep voice and goes, oh darn, oh darn, oh darn. That's all we need.
There better be a baseball tryout in the sequel.
That was probably better than the movie. Right
Yes.
there. Just like the whole
100%.
like that right there.
Somebody meme that, loop it. 10-hour loop.
You were talking about like what you would do to fix the movie. The first thing I would do is, I don't know, come up with a plot.
Oh,
There was no
hold
plot.
on. You're telling me movies have to have plot?
You mean you just don't have random random scenes that have nothing to do with each other, just smashed against each other? And you just for 100 minutes. That's my biggest problem with the movie.
Well, that's
There's just the plot.
Yeah.
There's no plot.
And you know, like you can kind of go a little bit more gritty and Addams Family-ish with the tone. You don't have to go like all like crazy with it, with like people getting mutilated and stuff like in a Rob Zombie film or something like that. You don't have to go that far with it, but just go, you know, like I actually agree with what he was
Who's
saying.
the
like,
antagonist
just, like,
in this movie?
But I'm saying like if you go with that kind of a more gritty but still fun sort of thing, and then have like a plot,
An antagonist.
have an antagonist, have stakes that happen. I guess you would actually be invested into it a little bit.
It'd be the lady trying to get the deed, and she's in it like 2% of the movie, right? If you had to pinpoint it.
You know what I would.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
You know what I think would have been an infinitely better movie is like you don't even make it a prequel, because when you make it a prequel,
Yeah.
you already you already know where it goes to. What's
Yeah.
the point? What's the point? Make it a sequel. Make it like, because they're monsters. They can live forever.
Monsters in space.
Monsters. I would have taken that. But the monsters in modern times, like now.
Yeah,
And they see all the
agree.
weird stuff, and then it's
And
but
getting
then
into the
but then-
hijinks and all that. I agree with
But
that.
the funny thing is, it's like the monsters would probably fit in more nowadays than they would in the
Yeah,
60s.
people wouldn't look at them as weird back then, or now as they do
Yeah,
back
they
then.
wouldn't. They wouldn't be. They wouldn't be. And then maybe that's part of the plot.
Yeah.
Honestly, that would be part of
That's
the plot.
actually a
yeah.
pretty good idea.
Yeah.
Like,
Not bad,
like,
right?
like he's sitting there, like Herman's sitting there on the internet, and he's looking at all these people like shaming him, and he's like all self-conscious, and then he goes into a place, and
Not
he's
bad.
he's like all trying to fit in, and they're like, and this person behind the counter is like, oh, you be you.
No.
Mr. Zombie, we are
Dude.
fighters for hire.
But look, if you'd done the Munsters in modern times, you could have been so. You could have ruffled some feathers. It would have been great.
It could have been really good.
Yeah,
It could have been good.
It could have been awesome. Maybe it's their trek back to the old country because they're like, it's just weird here now. It's just weird here.
Weird here.
That would have been good.
Let's just go back to Transylvania.
They go back home and it's worse. Oh man.
All right. So,
anyways,
3 out of 10.
3 out of 10.
I'm giving it a 3, literally just because of some of the visuals and Grandpa.
I'm gonna give it a 1.5 out of 10. And that's because I really thought the Nosferatu character, I thought the makeup was really, really cool. And it was played by the guy that was the scientist, by the way. It's the same guy.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Okay. The makeup
The
was
doctor,
really good
whatever.
on that, actually.
Doctor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I felt bad for him. He's just trying to get his dick wet. And
Yeah, but he should have kept the rat photos at home. That was weird.
Well, that and the dance at the end.
That was strange.
When he's dancing. It was
Yeah.
just like, what am I watching? And
He was doing the
why am I
Transylvania
watching?
twist.
dude, in the continuity, I'm sorry. We're gonna keep going.
So wait, what's that an average score of like 2.75 or something?
Yeah.
The continuity, like Rob Zombie. And look, now I realize that we're talking about
Is he holding his-
this movie's so bad I had to take off my socks.
I don't even know what that means.
Please don't explain it.
To take off my socks.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god, because my feet were getting just hot from all the rage.
I'm so mad my feet got hot.
Oh my god, but the continuity, and look, and I realize we're talking about monsters, and we're talking about monsters that live in suburban America in the 1960s. Who cares about the continuity? But Herman is 100 years old, and in one of the episodes, Eddie basically introduces Herman to rock music. Do the shake, that kind of looks silly, like teen music from the 60s, which is great. But nothing to get all up in arms about. Oh, but that's how they act. Herman and Lily, they're like, all this stuff starts happening, like the clock explodes, and like, cause this music is just so of the devil or something. Which, well, they're monsters. They should be okay with that. But they were just, this is just rock and roll. But like in the movie, he's a rock and roll star, so he already knows that type of music, and apparently he's okay with doing it, but not okay with like hearing the effing like Beatles ripoff band. That Eddie's like, oh, you gotta hear this swinging sound, Pops. And then, oh, we'll put it in, Eddie. Oh, my ears.
I honestly forgot about the rock music part.
It's stupid.
Oh my god.
Oh god, like that's the part where I
Yeah.
threw up a little bit in my mouth because I got motion sickness. Because Rob Zombie can't keep his damn camera still.
And wait a minute, if he was a rock star, why'd they have no money when they came to America?
I don't get it.
What the hell?
Wait, and then why did they get money at the end? And then in the show, they're just average Joe middle class stiffs.
I don't get it.
It's literally like they were like, oh, the script's over.
I don't get it.
Well, no, it's like
Lester, you did the Vegas thing.
You did the Vegas thing.
it literally is because we had to do that on ours. Come up with something that day. I was like, oh shit, all right. And like they got to the end of the script. I was like, wait, nothing happens.
I don't get it.
And then the dude that played Lester just still happened to be in makeup that day. It's like, get over here. What do we say something about money?
Say something about money.
I don't get it.
Oh, it's a bad.
I like how we wrapped up the video 20 minutes ago. And
we're still bitching about it.
I was like, hey, remember that one time in the movie it was stupid?
It was stupid.
No, but trust me, I promise I did not go into this wanting to hate it. I promise. I literally went in here open-minded, and he went in wanting to hate it. But
Yeah.
I didn't.
I wanted it to be good. And it just wasn't. It just wasn't.
I try to go into everything as just
No expectations.
No expectations. Let's just watch.
I'm glad I watched the trailer first because I knew going in, like my expectations were low, and I think that helped that first 10 minutes. That definitely helped that first 10 minutes because my expectations were so low.
You're like, oh, this isn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be.
But then the movie happened.
You were wrong.
Wrong.
I again tried to go in with no expectations. I just wanted it to be better than it was.
So should we watch this instead?
Yeah, Suburban Sasquatch. Of course we should watch that instead.
Yeah.
I don't get it.